Now, for our next session, we're delighted to welcome Jan Feiling, company builder at Porsche Digital, who is here to share his expert insight around how AI is impacting the startup world. Jan believes that looking behind the obvious can open up a new perspective on how the future could look like, and that problems can be solved if approached with a beginner's mind. Here to share more thoughts, please welcome Jan.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the nice welcome. I start sharing my screen. All right. Okay, yeah. Hello, everybody again. I'm really happy to be here today. So my topic is like how AI is impacting the startup world. I thought a long time how I can present it to you, and I think the easiest way is to present my own hotshot startup. So today I present you Magic AI. It's an AI as a service, or better to say, it was. I will show you something new today, so you'll be delighted, since you will be the first audience I show that to you. So, but before that, let me switch into dark mode. Why? I mean, it's cooler. I'm an AI startup, and so it's much more convincing to talk to you in dark mode. So let's see what was our past, and then I will dive deeper into what is the future of Magic AI. So I founded this company together with my friend Alan. So Alan Turing, he's the co-founder, CEO, quite a good background in computer science. I mean, he had like really good institutes he worked for, but recently he also went to Hollywood, recorded a nice movie, Imitation Game. So if you didn't watch, go to it and watch it. He also gave the mission for Magic AI, which is we want to create machines which cannot be distinguished in their decision-making process compared to us as humans. So that's our vision, generating a generic AI. Beside that, the CTO, my friend, and also like cyberneticist as myself, Norbert Wiener, he is the godfather of cybernetics and built the other pillar of Magic AI. And he also supported a lot in understanding neural networks from a biological perspective, but also like from an AI perspective, how we're using them today. And sure, myself, also background in cybernetics, now working at some company builder for Porsche. In this Magic AI startup, I'm more the communication officer, so doing this kind of pitching, presenting our idea, what we are solving, what is our solution, what is the products, coming soon in this presentation today. So we achieved quite a lot in the last years, built up a huge theory of machine learning, AI, and all this different stuff, neural networks, and so on. But I mean, our business, AI as a service, suffered quite a lot. So mid-80s to early 2000s in the AI winter, we didn't make any big business. We developed so much theory, and I mean, maybe relaxed a bit too much in the sun, did a bit of après-ski, but that's another story. So business suffered, but then early 2000s, compute power really of our business. So we were able to apply everything, all the neural networks. We had like amazing speed, and it worked quite well. And we also got a task to solve one of humanity's biggest problem. So we got to some caves at the end of the world where no peoples are, and we found this really solemn characters. We got a task to identify them. For sure, we applied AI for that. So we, better to say, our AI identified those characters as numbers. So we classify them as 0, 1, 2, 3, and so forth. And still in research, a lot of people trying to get them even better and better predicted. So however, a lot happened. We achieved a lot of milestones. AI as a service worked pretty well the last 50 to 70 years for us, but now we want to change. We want to change our business model and build something new on top of Magic AI. So we change from AI as a service to AI as a business. So what's behind that, you will see in the next couple of minutes. So behind a business, there's always a problem worth solving to make money. So that's the first question. What really is the problem we are trying to solve? So, I mean, we had a lot of sessions talked about, okay, what could be really the problem? And we came up with the conclusion, we not really understand this question. Why should we solve a problem? I mean, we have AI, so we could solve basically everything. It's simple. I mean, we came up with this fancy convolutional neural networks, adding a lot of layers and neurons, and then bringing in this really fancy optimization algorithms, can solve that much faster, can stack them together. So it's so simple, so we can basically solve everything. So no problem, but Magic AI. And what we are doing with that, that's on the next chapter. So what is our solution? Our solution can be described by this simple picture, a red and a green line. So, you know, in software as a service companies, you also in the beginning have this ramp up of costs, and then you ship, and then you almost have no further costs, right? So that's the red line. And the green line is like, if you have much more data, you can make much more revenue. And we decided to be the green line. I mean, it's green, it's going up, so that's why we choose the green line. And all the data, that's the second part of our solution. We need just data to make the magic happen. So that's how we approach our customers. Give us all your data. Doesn't depend how data is distributed, how the data looks like, how we get them, just data, and we make the magic happen. The question is, and I always get this question, how can that be data secure? Difficult question, simple answer. We use blockchain. Why blockchain? It's safe, it's decentralized, it's GDPR conform. So everything in it, we can be safe. We can calculate all the AI models with the data using blockchain to be GDPR conform. Next question we always got, okay, I mean, that's a lot of computation power you need. Difficult question, simple answer. We use quantum computing. Using the continuum between zeros and one, having much more computational power, accelerates really the computation, the inference, and also the deployment of AI models. And also like computing all the blockchain encryption and so forth. I mean, having this four big pillars, it's still like there's so much data generated with the blockchain, with the AI models, the data itself. Again, difficult question, simple answer. We store all the data with biotechnology. So we put all the data in DNA-like cells. And with this pipeline, we have like an incredible solution which is working really well. So we have the green solution, green going up, it's always better. We get all the data of our customer, which then is GDPR conform by applying the blockchain and calculating all the stuff with quantum computing, store all the data in biotechnology. Simple as pie. So, but that's the solution. Now, jumping to the question, what is the product behind? I mean, we have a big portfolio of different products. So I will show you the main three products we're having right now. So it's the AI calculator, some part of autonomous driving, and a top secret product. I cannot really talk about it, but let's see what I can tell you. So the AI calculator. We developed a fancy neural network, and you can put in two numbers, and then the magic happens, and what you get, the sum. So for sure, it's not working only for the smaller numbers. You can even put in some bigger numbers. And okay, maybe that's a prediction error. So it's not fully trained. We have an accuracy of 95%, but in most cases, it's working. And customers really picking up our AI calculator. I mean, they're used to using normal calculators, and now they're using our AI calculator. Next product, autonomous driving. So we developed a software which works in most cases for autonomous driving, for sure, level 5. I mean, we have some difficulties if you're driving in the fog or at snow. If there are not so many data points, so if there are not enough cars on the street, or if it's night, if there are no lane markers, it's also a bit more difficult. And if the bend has a radius lower than 100 meters, it could be also a bit more difficult. So we recommend our customers to use our software while driving in the summer, in the city, on a highway, and sticking into traffic. Then it's 100% working. We are working on the next level to reduce this somehow restrictions. It's already working. You need a lot of computation power in the car, but it's working really well if you place the laptop in the car. So there's no doubt that this can work. And we are already starting validating it. I mean, we have to drive some kilometers to be really secure, but we are on the street. We started a few weeks ago because there was some computation error, but it's working. Lastly, our top secret product. We name it 99.98%. I mean, we started 2013. We are almost there. Probably a bit of R&D is still missing. So we guess another year and then we can launch it. But unfortunately, I cannot tell you much more. So that's our product portfolio. AI calculator, the game changer. Autonomous driving, our future business. And then the top secret product. I mean, I hope you're as excited as me. We launch it soon. So, I mean, if you have different products, there are competitors for sure. So we did a huge competitor analysis and came up with this competitor landscape. So we compared ourselves on the long and the short axis, and we can see some competitors on the lower left corner, while we can place ourselves on the upper right corner on the dimensions of the longer and the shorter axis. So there's a big unfair competitive advantage we can see, and we really found the sweet spot to act on our competitor landscape. I mean, for sure, you need to make any business to make revenue, right? So it's not that difficult. It's an easy sketch. So if we have data, we think we can make money, a lot of money in the future. Just compare Google. I mean, Google aggregated all this data in the beginning, and now they're making a huge amount of money. And that's also our plan. Having a lot of data, make money in the future. That's the plan. So just a summary, you saw the solution. All the products, at least the top 3 having right now, are unfair competitive advantage and the way how we want to make money. So what did we learn from this pitch today? We need a problem. We have AI. We can operate in the tech bubble, and it's working well. Data is the key for everything. Maybe adding blockchain, quantum computing, and biotechnology accelerates, but data you need. If you have a product X, adding AI works as a business. And finally, AI startups are as software as a service companies. So switching back to me as Jan from 431, and now I tell you what we really learned from this pitch. And the answer to the question, how is AI impacting the startup world? So talking seriously, I mean, the pitch I presented right now are all aggregated learnings of startups I talked to, I worked with, or I saw the pitch, whatever. So I took the learning out of that, and don't get me wrong, I'm also like passionate about AI. I dedicated 3 years of research to AI optimization theory. So I really believe in that, but there are some key learnings and also showing how AI is somehow impacting the startup world and the business world. So it's really important as a startup to identify a need and an opportunity first. So there is a problem needed, a problem worth solving. So you don't have to go the bottom-up approach, meaning you have a technology and then looking around and ask, okay, what is the problem I can solve with this technology? It's the other way around. So having a problem, identifying the opportunity, and then looking how you can solve it. Is it feasible to solve this problem? That's leading me to my next really big thing, that AI and technology in general should be a tool. So use it as a tool and not as a driver for a business, a startup, or a new venture. Secondly, data is not really a differentiator, at least not in the beginning. It's really important, and I see that a lot, that startups applying their algorithms to a broad spectrum of problems, but it's so much easier to act in a narrow niche to apply all the data. And it's really important to ask this kind of data question, like how often they updated their models, how they integrate new data, what human in the loop work is needed to clean the data, tag the data, and all the stuff. And that's a really crucial point and often misunderstood. And that's also like leading me to the next one, understanding where AI is of advantage. There's this famous quote of the founder of Wired. He said in 2016, the next 10,000 startups are X plus AI. Somehow true, but as you can find the statistics, 2/5 of all AI startups not really using AI. It's a bit like the AI calculator in a really simple version. And finally, there are many hidden costs of service components. So if you compare software as a service companies with AI startups, AI as a service, data as a service, those kind of startups, or business models, better to say, are more on the pure service-oriented side. So there's a lot of human in the loop work needed, either for data cleaning, labeling, and tagging, or for updating all the models, doing the maintenance, new deployment, inference, and so on. And then on the other hand, you also have like much higher server costs, infrastructure costs. So you can expect a much lower gross margin compared to the high margins of software as a service companies. So that's my main learnings and how I think AI really impacts the startup world. So if you're an entrepreneur, you are loving AI and also love to use AI to solve problems, feel free to get in touch with us. I'm happy to answer all the questions and see what you're up to. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Jan. Well, if you have questions for Jan, please follow him into the networking lounge and Q&A room. The link to that room is going to be dropped now into the session chat on Hopin. So please follow him there, where he can turn on his camera and audio, and you can type questions in the session chat for Jan to read out and answer. We'll be back after a quick break. See you then.